Hey, so I hope you enjoyed that welcome video. And in this video, I'm just going to give you a little bit more of an in-depth introduction towards what you'll be learning in the conversation hacking program. I think it's really important to spend just a few minutes talking about why learn this. If you decided to try out this program, you must have your own reasons for wanting to become more confident and expressive in conversations. But I'll just point out a few of the areas of life where your conversation and social skills can truly improve your quality of life and your fulfillment and your happiness. Basically, the way that I see it is learning how to become better at communicating and talking to people and connecting is one of the highest leverage skills that you can have. That means that there's almost nothing else you can learn, no other skill you can learn that can improve your life as much as improved conversation skills can. So one area of life where this program will help you out is in your professional life. Success is often not based on how intelligent you are. It's not based on what you know or even how hard you work. Success is often a result of simply who you know, how big your network is, and how confident you are. Especially if you want to work in business, people tend to follow confident people because confident people appear to be sure of themselves, and people always like to follow people who seem very sure of themselves. Let me give you an example. Imagine you went to your doctor and your doctor prescribed you some medicine, but the doctor seemed like he wasn't sure of himself. He was like, maybe you should take this. Would you feel very safe taking that medication? No, you'd probably go out and find a different doctor who was confident in telling you to do something. In the same way, when it comes to being in a job interview or creating a network, a professional network, the more confident you are, the more people will see you as someone who's sure of himself, sure of his abilities, and they will want to work with you. In fact, I remember reading a study that said that someone's people skills and their confidence is more important in a job interview than their qualifications and education. Another obvious area of life in which conversation and social skills will help you is your social life. So, why is it so important to have friends and to have a social life? Well, scientists basically did a study, and they found out that the biggest determinant, the biggest cause of happiness in people who are happy is their quality of close relationships. So they found that people who weren't happy in life usually didn't have many friends or many close relationships. And when I talk about having a social life, I don't mean that you have to go out and drink, or you have to go to parties, or you have to go out and watch sports games all the time. In fact, a lot of people who are listening to this program are probably introverts who don't even enjoy most of those activities. So having a social life doesn't need to be about that stuff, those types of popular but sometimes brainless activities. Instead, I think having a social life is simply about finding and relating to similar people, finding people who share similar interests or passions or values to you, and being able to connect with them. And when you do this, when you create these types of relationships, you're going to feel a lot more fulfilled and happy in your life. And the third area of life which you can improve with better conversation skills is your dating life. So being able to meet new people and being able to talk to a lot of people opens up your dating opportunities. So it's pretty simple. If you can't talk to someone, if you can't talk to new people, then you can't form new relationships. And beyond that, having confidence is one of the most attractive qualities you can have. Especially if you're a guy who wants to find a girlfriend or a wife, then you should realize that confidence is one of the most universally attractive qualities to women, because confidence communicates high social status. And on the other hand, being shy, being quiet, having a low amount of confidence communicates low social status. And women tend to be not very attracted to guys who are shy and quiet. For me personally, I spent the first 21 years of my life having basically zero success in my dating life because I was extremely quiet and shy and I couldn't talk to new people. But once I learned how to start a conversation with women in streets and bars, etc., etc., and I practiced becoming more confident in social situations, my dating life then skyrocketed. So basically, improving your conversation confidence, improving your communication skills, improving the way that you talk to and relate to people, it's going to be able to increase your success in many different areas of your life. And if you're someone who's right now very shy or socially anxious, then improving your conversation skills can really be life-changing. I'm not going to talk too much about myself, but maybe as a bit of inspiration to people who have very bad social anxiety, I'll share just a little bit of my personal story. So back when I was starting university, I still had pretty bad social anxiety. I couldn't really talk to people that I didn't know well. At the time, I could maybe carry a conversation with my brother, and there was maybe one or two people in my high school who I could talk to. But then I moved away to university where I didn't know anybody, and I wasn't able to meet new people, and I started to become very isolated. I was studying business marketing, and I soon realized that I actually hated the program that I was taking, which just made me more depressed. I was extremely bored of life at the university, and I kind of went into a kind of a downward spiral. To be honest, that first year of university, that might have been the lowest point of my life, when I was the most depressed, because I'd always had pretty bad social anxiety growing up, but I'd also had, my brother, and I could talk to my family, and there was always a couple people at school that I sometimes talked to, but then when I moved away to university, I just felt extremely alone. And what made me feel even more depressed was thinking that I might have to spend the next 4 years in this situation. But then, just when I was hitting rock bottom, something amazing happened. I decided to improve my conversation skills, and of course it didn't happen overnight, but throughout that year of university, I started to practice talking to people more. I started to lower my anxiety and nervousness and awkwardness in social situations, and I just generally started to become better at talking to people. And although I was still fairly shy, it really gave me hope when I saw that I was improving. And I realized that improving my social confidence actually gave me the confidence to go after the life I really wanted to. So at the end of that first year of university, I dropped out, and then I went to an art school for 1 year. And this was a decision that my parents were extremely unhappy with. They kept arguing and convincing me to stay in university because they saw it as a more stable and secure path. But because I had developed my social confidence, I had the confidence to stand by my decision and to stand on my own and to leave university and go to art school. And you know what? That turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. Art school was a lot more fun. I spent that year practicing drawing, painting, things I'm very passionate about. And most importantly, I was improving my social confidence and conversation skills even more. I was increasing my confidence in social situations, which was really giving me a foundation of self-assurance in which I thought that I could basically take control of my life and go after the type of life that I really wanted to have. So at the end of that year of art school, I made an even more risky decision. I decided to spend 6 months traveling throughout Southeast Asia. I went to countries like Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Laos, and not only did I experience the culture of these countries, but I also met many, many interesting people from all different countries in the hostels and guest houses that I stayed at. By traveling for 6 months, I was able to broaden my perspective of the world and of life, and I experienced true independence and freedom. I would have never been able to do this, to travel, and to have all these awesome experiences unless I had first worked on improving my conversation and social skills. In fact, let me tell you a quick story of something that happened during my travels in Southeast Asia. So I was in Malaysia, and I decided to go to this tropical island called Perhentian Island. And this photo right here, that's not like a postcard. That's an actual photo I took of the beach that I was staying at. Pretty awesome, huh? So I was staying here for a couple weeks in a hostel. And in case you don't know, hostels are basically big rooms with about 4 to sometimes 12 beds inside them. Students and backpackers, young travelers tend to stay at hostels because, first of all, it's a lot cheaper to stay in a bed in a hostel than in a hotel or a private room. And second of all, it makes meeting new people a lot easier. So I was staying in this hostel on this island, on this tropical beach, and the guy who was sleeping in the bed beside me was this local Malaysian guy who worked on the beach, and he had a boat. Actually, this is a photo I took of him. I circled him in red. So on my first day staying on this island, I started up a conversation with this Malaysian guy, and we quickly kind of got to know each other. We sort of became friends, and he invited me to go fishing with him later that day with him and his friends on his boat. So of course I thought this would be a great experience, so I said yes. When he first talked to me about fishing, I thought he was talking about the normal type of fishing, where you throw a line into the ocean and then you wait for a fish to bite. But no, his type of fishing was 100 times more awesome, because basically the type of fishing that him and his friends did is putting on a snorkel, diving down deep into the water, and using a spear gun, like the one you see right now on your screen, to actually catch the fish and shoot them in the water. So I was out with this guy and his friends underwater, on this tropical island. All these colorful fish are swimming around, and this guy is, shooting a couple of them down with this spear gun. What an awesome experience to have while traveling. My mind was completely blown by this. And then later, once we'd caught several fish, we parked the boat on this tiny little island in the middle of the ocean, on this beach where there was nobody else there. And they started a campfire, and we grilled the fish over a campfire on the beach. We spent a couple hours there, just hanging out, joking around, eating the fish, and then later we went back to the main island. So the point of this story is to show you how improving your conversation skills, it's going to explode your world. You're going to be opened up to so many new opportunities when you know how to meet new people, so many new experiences and new relationships that you would have never had before. And if you want, you can really live a more interesting life where you decide your path in life. So once you go through this program, you're going to be able to look forward to talking to people instead of being nervous about it. You'll feel confident in most social situations, and you won't feel anxious or nervous or self-conscious nearly as much. I mean, look, nobody's perfect, right? I'm not 100% confident in every situation. I occasionally get self-conscious, but the point is, you can go from feeling those bad emotions a lot of the time to feeling them just a small percentage of the time. And overall, you're going to have more power to get what you want out of life. Better conversation skills means you can get friends who respect you, you can get a girlfriend or boyfriend if you want, and you can even get the job, maybe business, or the life that you want. So I hope that gives you a good overview for why learning conversation skills really pays off. And now, I want to give you a quick overview of my 4-part model for improving your communication. As you can see, there's basically 4 circles, and these circles represent the layers of conversation or the layers of communication. So the way I've broken this conversation hacking program down is that each layer is going to be covered by each week of the program. So in week 1, you're going to learn about the outer layer of communication. This is actually the most surface or superficial layer of conversation, which is the words that you say. So in this first week, you're going to learn how to be able to change the words that you say so that you're able to speak up more often, you're able to carry conversations more easily, you're able to stay involved in group conversations, and so on and so forth. And then in week 2, I'm going to go to the next level. This is a deeper layer of conversation, and I call it status. When I say status, what I'm actually talking about is non-verbal behaviors. So in week 2, I'll talk about how to improve things like your voice, your body language, and how you say what you say. See, a lot of people who are not confident or who are bad at making conversations, they get really obsessed over the words that they say. But in most social situations, the words that you say aren't nearly as important as this deeper layer of status. So right now, if you're someone who is shy or quiet in social situations, if you have a hard time speaking up, if you sometimes get ignored in conversations, or you don't feel like people really want to get to know you or pay attention to you, then what you need to do is you need to learn how to transform your behavior from low status to high status. And I'll show you exactly how to do this in week 2. Then in week 3, I'll go even deeper, and I'll go into your mindset. What is a mindset? Basically, it's a habit of mind formed by previous experience that determines how you will interpret and respond to situations. And if you don't understand that right now, then don't worry. Basically, a mindset, you can think of it like a lens through which you see the world. So this is about going from being insecure to having self-esteem. It's about being someone that draws people towards you because they see you as a warm, charismatic person. When you learn how to change your mindsets and the way that your mind works, you can actually totally change the way that people respond to you. Because the outer world and other people, it's basically a reflection of your inner reality. So people who are confident and popular, they think a certain way, they have a certain mindset. And you can also learn to have the exact same mindset. Then in week 4, I'm going to go even deeper than mindset to what I call expressing your true self. In the welcome video, I mentioned that confidence is being able to express yourself the same way no matter the situation. So have you ever noticed that maybe you can talk fairly comfortably to one close friend, or maybe in a certain situation like your workplace, when you're talking to a customer, you might be able to be fairly confident, but then in other situations you're not confident at all? So when I talk about expressing your true self, I'm talking about being that confident person that you are around a close friend, but being able to be that person regardless of the outside situation. So as you can see, I go from the more superficial layers of conversation, like the words that you say and how you say them, and then I go deeper into how you think and even deeper into your true self. So the way that I've structured this training program is I'm gonna change your personality from the outside in. Now, this doesn't mean that I'm gonna try to change who you are. It's more about me teaching you how to remove those fears, insecurities, and inhibitions that hold you back from being confident and expressing yourself in conversations. So that's a basic overview of the 4 layers of this program. Now, that being said, in this first week, I'm going to obviously talk about mostly the words, what to say. And many shy and quiet people are obsessed with what to say. I get emails all the time about people asking me, what should I say in this situation? What's the right thing to say in that situation? Sometimes shy guys ask me, what should I say to a girl I like? But what you might not realize is that there are no strict rules when it comes to social interaction, which means that there isn't one specific thing that you should or should not say. Even though you might think that the words that you say are very important and you have to get the right words in conversation, they actually aren't nearly as important as you would think. See, everyone in the world is just making it up as they go along. Everyone's improvising. It's not like some people who are social know, quote unquote, the right thing to say and you don't know the right thing to say. There is no right thing to say. People just tend to make stuff up and they follow the confident people who seem to know what they're doing. So even though I'm gonna sort of give you some techniques to follow in this week, in this module, I want you to realize that there are no strict rules when it comes to having conversations, when it comes to the words that you say. However, that being said, when you're trying to meet new people, when you're trying to carry conversations and connect, be funny, or make friends, when you're trying to do all these things and you don't have much social experience, it can really feel next to impossible. It can be almost impossible to do all these things unless you have some examples or models that you can copy in the beginning. And I think having examples and having techniques that you can follow for what to say, that's going to give you the confidence that you're not doing anything wrong. And when you follow my tips for what not to say, it's also going to help you avoid making mistakes like creating awkward silences in the conversation. So that's the reason why I'm starting this conversation hacking program with the words and what to say in conversations. Even though, in my opinion, it's one of the least important parts of conversation, I think if you're starting out without much conversation skills, then having examples for what you can say is very useful. If I didn't give you any examples, it would be like telling you to go drive somewhere without having a map. So basically, this is like, I'm going to give you a map this week for what you can say in conversations, which is going to give you confidence to get started with your improvement. But I think you'll make the most progress from the deeper transformational techniques and perspective shifts I'm going to show you in weeks 2, 3, and 4. And as a last point before I finish up this video, I want to point out that what you focus on is very important. See, most books and courses out there on conversation focus on superficial tips. They'll tell you things like smile and be interested in other people. They'll say stuff like agree with people to get them to like you. And although that's not necessarily bad advice, I mean, smiling at people, it's not going to make them hate you. The point is, that type of advice is only going to make a very small difference. It's going to make like a 2% difference in your social skills. If someone who is extremely shy learns that they should smile more in social situations, that's not going to lead them to being more confident or more expressive or more talkative. They're still going to be shy. So I'm not going to focus on those tiny points of conversation. Instead, in this program, I'm going to focus on the points that will totally transform the way that you talk to people. I'm going to focus on having those real shifts that allow you to erase your insecurities and fears. I'm talking about improvements of 100 to 200% or more in your confidence and in how you talk to people. And this requires going past those superficial tips like smile more, and it means that we have to dive deep into how social interactions really work and how your psychology really works. So think about it this way. If you were learning to drive, what's more important? Learning how to adjust the seat of your car, or learning that you should stop at a red light? Obviously, if you're learning to drive, knowing that you should stop at a red light is 100 times more important than knowing how to adjust the seat of your car. But what most conversation programs try to do is they'll tell you something like smile more, and that's like telling you to adjust the seat of your car. In this program, I'm going to talk about different shifts that are going to be a lot more important for you when it comes to becoming more expressive, more confident, and more talkative in conversations.